Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
All right, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Prime Time Local News. Connor Chan and Elise Starwars here to kick the week off for you, including our question of the day: what personal items do you bring to work? There's a lot of things. A lot of people bring different things, but
yeah, I mean, when you spend that much time in an office, if you're working 7-8 hours a day, then you might as well have something nice to have that reminds you of being at home, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. For me, I just bring a couple pictures. I think that's about it. I don't bring a lot of extra
got a
stuff
bit as
with
well.
me.
I got like a picture of a corgi that says "You stay positive" because that's adorable. Why not?
Lots of meme pictures and stuff
Meme,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll have all this and more coming up later on the show, but right now let's send over to Brett Holden, who's on location.
Well, spring has sprung and we're heading into the summer months as well, a little warmer months too. And we are here at Cliff Rose talking to Dave Schneider about getting dressed up for those summer parties, summer events, graduation as well, and what looks good as well with the suspenders and just a little bit more of a Harry Carey look that is coming back as well. So that'll be coming up in this hour, but for now, let's head back into the studio where Elise has a look at your local news.
Great, thank you, Brett. Well, crews were called to yet another house fire in the city this afternoon. The call came in around 3:15 to the 52nd 100 block of 50th Street. Witnesses to the scene say it's believed 4 people lived in the building, and the cause and damage estimate is not available at this time. The investigation is still ongoing. And a local family lost their home when a fire broke out Saturday evening. The fire happened near 71st Ave and 40th Street. It was first found by people who were passing by the home.
We were driving by, we were coming down the street, and we were actually just up from the house, and we saw smoke billowing out of the backyard. And it seemed like a little bit more smoke than like a barbecue or just a fire, like in a controlled fire. So we pulled up and ran over to talk to the homeowners, and I got to the door and they were stuck inside. They couldn't even get the door open. They told me later on that the door had been broken.
The homeowners weren't aware of the fire as they were in the basement, but they managed to escape.
It was kind of scary because at one point they're worried about they have animals inside the home, and they were worried because they hadn't come out. And they were thinking about going back in, but thank goodness they didn't, because like right afterwards there was like a propane tank or something exploded in the back. It was very frightening.
The family and their pets left safely, and the cause of the fire is unknown.
That fire is still under investigation. At this time it isn't suspicious. Neither were the other 2 fires that we had within the last week, and they aren't related in nature. They all are completely separate events from what it looks like right now, but we'll be continuing to investigate.
And an update has been provided after a fire broke out at a Lloydminster business Friday. The fire began in the afternoon, causing smoke to billow from the building, affecting 2 businesses. One person suffered minor injuries in the blaze.
On Friday, we did respond in the late afternoon to a big commercial structure in the north part of 50th Avenue. There was a person inside at the time of the fire. That person was injured with minor injuries and was transported to hospital.
An investigation will take place to determine the cause of the fire.
The provincial investigator is coming down for that fire to investigate. The province will be taking over that one.
The origin of the fire is not suspicious. And the 14th annual Ukrainian Dancing on the Border Festival took over the Vic Juba Theatre this past weekend, celebrating the culture. And our Brett Holden has more.
Rich colors dress the Vic Juba Theatre as Ukrainian dancing clubs from Alberta and Saskatchewan made their way to the border city to celebrate.
They come and gather here, and we have a festival or a competition where the kids are adjudicated on their dances. They get gold, silver, bronze medals, and just a lot of fellowship and family fun.
Yacy also says you do not have to be Ukrainian to celebrate the Ukrainian culture and the festival.
It's very important. We need to keep our heritage alive. And you can see it. You can see it when you come in here that everyone is all about the heritage and the culture of Ukraine. You don't have to be Ukrainian to Ukrainian dance. There is a lot of non-Ukrainians that do dance, and it's for the love of the dance.
Groups from all over the prairies, including from Edmonton, Prince Albert, and Saskatoon, make their way to the festival, excited to be a part of the event.
I think it's important to continue dancing and showcasing what Ukrainians do and how they dance, and this way it's kind of carrying on the tradition through our young ones into the future.
But the love for Ukrainian heritage is the aspect that Yasi says is the most important.
Ukrainian dance really is all about the regions of Ukraine. You have the Hutsul region, you have the Transcarpathian region, all the way up to the traditional Poltava, central Ukraine region. And we portray every region of Ukraine. That is what Ukrainian dance is all about. So that's what makes it special here, is how we show our love for our home country.
Brett Holden, Primetime Local News.
And on Saturday, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lloydminster hosted Bowl for Kids' Sake. Our Abby St. John has more.
Bowl for Kids' Sakes is an annual event in order to raise money for the many programs that Big Brothers Big Sisters provide.
So it'll go towards any mentoring, all the mentoring programs we have. So recruiting volunteers, recruiting fundraising volunteers, supporting the programs already in place, so those matches that are in place, supporting those, forming new matches, all of that, all the stuff that goes into running our agency.
This event is important for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and it's all going back to helping the kids involved in the programs.
With the proceeds from them that go towards mentoring, we're helping kids in the community. We're helping to shape their lives and make a difference, possibly for their futures.
It is also a way to get the community together to show what Big Brothers Big Sisters do.
It's one of Big Brothers' biggest fundraisers of the year, one where we can really reach out to members of the community, get them having fun, and just help to educate them about what Big Brothers does and the mentoring programs that exists.
The amount raised is over $34,000 and counting. Abby St. John, Primetime Local News.
And last Saturday, the Lloyd X hosted the annual Rare and Exotic Pet Sale. The event is an auction for non-utility animals, which included chickens, pigeons, and peacocks.
It's a good outlet for people to buy some spring stock, stuff you buy in the spring, raise over the year, and bring back in fall sales.
With there being 2 shows annually, there's an opportunity for a lot of people to sell and bid on animals.
We had about 600 entries a day, so that's about average. It's maybe down a little bit from last year's spring sale. 30 livestock is what we had, so we're down a few head of livestock, but for the most part, the response has been fairly favorable.
The fall sale is scheduled for September 28th. And the men's shelter has been in the border city for over a decade now, and in this week's retrospect, I take a look at where the funding goes and just how important this facility is.
To present a check for just over $61,000 to the Lloydminster's Men's Shelter.
The 28-bed facility has been open for just over a year now, and this funding is for the Saskatchewan residents who stayed at the shelter last year.
We have had usage. We're not full, which is a good thing, but we still have people who have been here and needed the service, and it was identified, and our first year shows that it was definitely a much needed service.
The funding comes in a lump sum and isn't based on nightly paperwork. The Alberta government also helps fund the shelter, so the Saskatchewan funding is based on that model for consistency purposes.
There's funding that's given to other shelters in Saskatchewan, and it's done a little bit differently, but Lloydminster is unique, and we needed to have it done a little bit differently, and so therefore a block funding arrangement came about.
Flash forward to now, and the men's shelter is not only a place with beds, it provides a lot more.
We certainly have identified the need in the community. We have 28 beds, so we house 28 men, up to 28 men overnight. But our services expand far beyond that in the community. So we have our shelter lobby, which is a drop-in center. People can come in, warm up, receive supportive services, food, clothing, anything that they need.
As far as funding goes, the shelter still receives about 80% from the joint governments of Saskatchewan and Alberta, and the leftover 20% is through fundraising. Looking forward now that the original goal of keeping the shelter up and running has been achieved, a new goal has been set.
So we've identified that need. There's also people in the community who are not housed anywhere else. So we would really like to expand our services, expand our breathing room a little bit, our storage a little bit. And so we're going to be exploring what's available in the community to perhaps relocate.
And that's it for this week's Retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who was on location earlier today.
Well, we're back here at Cliff Rose as we're talking about men's fashion heading into the spring and the summer. And Dave Schneider joins us now from Cliff Rose. And we kind of are seeing a little more color, as you mentioned. And something that you really kind of spoke to us about was kind of a Harry Carey kind of look as well.
Yeah, it's definitely more color. We're in spring now, so there's not as much gray and blacks. You know, we got a lot more pastel colors, and you can see here we've got lots of color in sports jackets, and it's a huge look right now even with jeans, but they're also dressing right with shirt and tie and a dress pants, so it's just a really good look right now.
And on the other side as well, we kind of have, you have a fish hook on it, and just kind of reminds me of kind of a fisherman kind of look as well.
Yeah, it's a company called Fish Named Fred, so they do a lot of that different look. They got really great linings. This one's Seven Downey, which again is a company that even in our own town have supported us greatly through the foundation gala and stuff too.
Now we're running a little bit out of time, but I just want to touch on what kind of looks that this could look best for, what kind of occasions that these would look best for.
This would be great just for even an evening out with a t-shirt, but you could also put a nice sports shirt underneath it and go to grad, or you could dress right up with a shirt and tie and go to weddings. So they're very versatile, a great look right now.
Beautiful. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Cliff Rose as we are speaking a little bit about that spring and summer fashion. But for now, let's head back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Brett. Taking a look at your temperature right now. It is starting to rain out there, sitting at 5 degrees. There are some showers happening currently right now here in the border cities. We take a look at some records for this time of year. 22 degrees was our warmest day back in 1984, while minus 10 was our coldest day back in 19 years ago. As we take a look at that satellite radar map, we are seeing more precipitation in our region here. As you can see, all those green blobs there that are coming in from the west, heading in towards the east. There's some showers happening currently, and they will happen overnight in our region in areas like Cold Lake, North Battleford, and for us here in Lloydminster. So the precipitation will kind of continue on into the later parts of the evening, where it should stop heading into tomorrow morning. As we take a look at no watches or warnings at all to report anywhere in the area. Take a look at other temperatures right now. 9 degrees currently out in Cold Lake and Edmonton, 8 degrees out in Red Deer and Rocky Mountain House, 4 out in Whitecourt and Edson. Over in Saskatchewan, there's 7 degrees in Meadow Lake, 7 for Prince Albert, and 7 for Saskatoon, 8 degrees out in Melfort, and 5 degrees currently in North Battleford. Let's take a look at more in-depth look to your regional temperatures. Currently, North Battleford's also experiencing some showers right now, sitting at 5 degrees. They're going to have -2 overnight with some cloud coverage there. It's warming up to 12 degrees tomorrow with a sun and cloud mix there. -2 overnight in Cold Lake, warming up to 12 degrees tomorrow with some showers there with a sun cloud mix there throughout the daytime. -1 for us here in Lloydminster, expecting those showers to continue heading into overnight. Warming up to 12 degrees tomorrow with mostly cloudy and a bit of sun mix there for us here. Take a look at the next 3 days averages for this time of year. A little bit, as that number is incorrect at the moment, but 15 degrees tomorrow on Wednesday and 15 degrees on Thursday with the daytime highs there. More sun on Wednesday than on Thursday, but that's a first look at your weather. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Well, it's the rise of the machines as a new egg bot rolls out this spring. Gerard Lampel finds out how the technology aims to change the game.
It's a new robotic platform for farming. Rob Sake heads up the retail side for Dot Autonomous Technologies. He's developing the plan to get Dot into the marketplace.
The inventor of Dot, his name is Norbert Bugeaud, and Norbert is also the owner of the Seedmaster company. And Norbert came up with the concept of Dot and needed a name, And so in honor of his mother, Dorothy, he named the autonomous robotic platform DOT.
Made in Saskatchewan, the U-shaped design of the platform aims to get any farming implement on board.
DOT, she's got 173 horsepower Tier 4 Cummins diesel engine, and she's got 4 hearts. So DOT's got 4 hydraulic engines, 2 for the 4 independent hydrostatic wheels that drive DOT, and 2 for the DOT ready implements that would be attached to DOT.
The marketing plan is already up and running.
We have farmers that are going into seeding this year with DOT and the Seedmaster unit. So the current seeding configuration is a DOT platform coupled with a 30-foot single rank 300 bushel Seedmaster air drill.
DOT also has a sprayer and a spin spreader for fertilizer.
With 16 variable rate sections, so it'll open up more capabilities. And DOT also has a grain cart, and Seedmaster is also prototyped a land roller.
The ag landscape is changing as DOT comes on stream.
The platform itself is currently retailing for $260,000 US.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
And that's your egg news. Sports is next, but first we'll take a look at your egg prices.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Taking a look at your local sports now, the Lloydminster Bobcats wrapped up spring camp yesterday after 3 busy days for 65 players in attendance. Josh Ryan has more on the quality of play and the reception of the off-ice tour.
As the off-season moves forward for the Bobcats, coaches and players had an encouraging look at their potential future.
A lot of good skill, a lot of young talent, and that's a good thing from our scouting staff to get all these kids here. I thought the pace was up there, there's a lot of skill and a lot of intensity, so I was happy with it for sure.
65 players, all handpicked by coaches and scouts, went through more than 12 hours of ice time, along with a tour of the community and a presentation from the organization.
Very professional, very well set up. It's a great experience, you know, get lots of ice time, you get to compete against really good players. I felt like I learned a lot this weekend, even though it was just a weekend.
The tour included a look at educational opportunities, which was beneficial even for local athletes.
I'm a local guy, but there's lots of guys from everywhere around here, so when you get a tour of the city, they kind of get to know what's going on here, what the city's like, the schools and everything like that, so it's good for me and for them to get to know what playing junior hockey here would be like.
Several Bobcats players helped to coach and ref the games and were impressed with the quality of play, including the efforts of the 2 local signings.
They look good out there, Lester and Benny. They look good out there. They're making smart, simple plays.
The 2 AAAs found it informative as to how much work they need to put in over the summer.
Probably the biggest difference from midget to junior is the size and strength, and cool because there can be 20-year-olds out there, and then just the speed of it too, just thinking quicker, making plays quicker, everything just happens a little quicker.
And for the returning players, there's already an urge to get back on the ice come August.
Watching the NHL playoffs and stuff like that now, and then coming to camp here, being back around the rink, it's definitely giving me the itch to get back.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
And the PWM Steelers held their year-end awards banquet this weekend, celebrating individual accomplishments during the AAA season. Kelsey Hall was the team's top scorer, while Kenzie Dachuk and Peyton Lembuck were named top forwards. Brooklyn Palmer was the best defensive players, while goaltender Bella McKee took home the team MVP, Paul Clausen Award, and Future Steeler Mentorship Award. The team's 8 graduates were honored as well. And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who was on location earlier today.
Well, we're back here at Cliff Rose, and Dave Schneider joins us once again. We're talking about the shoe game now. What are we seeing heading into the spring and summer for men's fashion?
Lots of brown, lots of color in shoes. It used to be black was everything, but now we sell probably more brown than black shoes for dress events.
And let's talk about a versatile shoe. You're kind of wearing one right now, and we were mentioning before we started just how versatile certain shoes can be.
Well, I got a shoe on today that's a slip-on shoe that great with jeans. I could wear it with a cotton pant, but I could also wear it with a pair of shorts, and it's still a great look. We also do stuff for width, so not every foot's the same. So we do have a wider shoe that works for a lot of people. You know, instead of buying a bigger shoe to get the width, you're getting a shoe now that's going to fit you all over.
Perfect. And you mentioned kind of a lot of the kids are kind of looking at a little more flashy and things like that, but that's not necessarily always the right way to go. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, just depends on the personality. It's no different. If you got the personality and you want that shoe, some kids will come in and they want to blend with the crowd. Some of them just want to stand out, and a shoe is a great way to do it.
And for summer and high school graduation, well, graduation is coming up. What would look best for this year's graduation?
Well, I think if they're wearing the blue or the gray, again, we do lots of brown shoes. That's the look. There's nothing wrong with a black shoe. You never go wrong with black, but the brown shoe is just definitely where it's at. We also got a navy shoe here now, and so just depending, again, your personality.
Perfect. Well, we'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Cliff Rose as we are talking more about men's fashion and what to look for heading into the spring and summer and the warmer weather as well. So we'll have a little bit more coming up, but for now, let's head back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Brett. Taking a look at your current temperatures once again here. 5 degrees currently for us here in Lloydminster, 5 also out in Marwayne, 6 degrees for Vermilion and Wainwright, 4 out in Vegreville, 9 in Cold Lake, 8 in Bonnyville, 7 for Lac-La-Biche, 6 degrees out in Meadow Lake, 7 degrees out in Green Lake and St. Walburg, 8 degrees for Maidstone, 10 degrees down in Provost, and 9 degrees out in Macklin, 5 also out in North Battleford as well. Other temperatures, Laloche and Buffalo Narrows and Flin Flon all sitting at 3 degrees currently, 4 degrees out in La Ronge, 1 degree out in Wollaston Lake there. Out in Alberta there, Grand Prairie sitting at 5, 7 degrees out in Peace River, 3 degrees for Slave Lake, 9 for Fort McMurray, 6 for Fort Chipewyan, and 8 degrees for High Level. Heading down to southern Alberta, 12 degrees currently right now in Lethbridge, 11 degrees in Medicine Hat and Coronation, 8 degrees for Calgary, and 3 degrees out in Banff. In southern Saskatchewan right now, 10 degrees currently right now in Swift Current, 14 degrees in both Moose Jaw and Regina, 10 degrees in Yorkton, 13 for Estevan, and 12 out in Kindersley. As we take a look at our temperatures here for tomorrow, it's mostly 12s across the board here, which we may see some overnight showers tonight, and then we'll see mostly sun and cloud mixes throughout the daytime tomorrow. So 12 for us here in Lloydminster, 12 in Maidstone, Vermilion, Vegreville, Wainwright, and Marwayne. Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Lac-La-Biche also sitting at 12 degrees there. 13 down in Provost and Macklin, 12 also for North Battleford, and 11 degrees out in Edmonton and in St. Paul. Let's take a look at your school day forecast tomorrow. It should be a very nice day nonetheless. Mostly sun and cloud mixes. 8 a.m., 0 degrees to start the day off, 4 degrees at recess, 7 degrees at lunchtime, and 11 degrees at home time. As we take a look at the next 7 days, 15 degrees on Wednesday with more sun and cloud mix there. 15 degrees also Thursday with the majority of it being cloud coverage there. 14 degrees on Friday with mostly cloudy skies there. 12 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, and 17 degrees on Monday. Our averages for this time of year, 10 degrees and our average low of -2 there. So right around the ballpark there. If that was a look at your 7-day forecast, we'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who was on location earlier today.
We're back here at Cliff Rose, and Dave Schneider joins us once again. This time we're going to be talking about getting ready for graduation, whether for fathers as well. So let's talk about that.
Again, we seem to always concentrate on the grad or the groom, but we forget about dads. So we do a lot of suits for dads that are the black, the gray, something like the one right here. They like to keep stuff a little more, not so loud, if you're the dad. But they want to look good too.
Now, you mentioned not necessarily overshadowing your graduate there, but what are some really good and most popular looks? I know you mentioned the one kind of to your right here, but a little bit more on what to look for as well.
Well, most guys are buying them, like they'll come in and say, I haven't bought a suit since he graduated, or I haven't bought a suit since our wedding. So they want a suit that's versatile. So we still do lots of black, navy, dark gray, just because they can wear them to different events as well. And they're very versatile to change shirts and ties with.
Now let's talk about accessories. What can go best with a nice little grad look?
Most of them will come in and they'll have a color set out, like either from the groom, the bride, what the wedding party is, or the wife, and they kind of try to match a bit with that. Some will just go with a straight. We've done, I call it the Johnny Cash look, but everything's black. You know, they like that look. As you can see in this one, we're doing lots of suspenders now, so it's just a fashion look. Depending, again, I go back to the other one, depends on the personality of the dad.
And one last question here. When we see kind of a little more flashier, what's the kind of secret flashy look that you really like, but kind of more subtle as well?
Again, I like a tie that's got a little color, still classy, and a pocket square is the big. If you want to add a little bit, you can put all kinds of colors in that pocket square to spice up anything.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming in.
We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Cliff Rose coming up, but for now, let's head back into the studio.
All right, so question of the day today, what personal items do you bring to the office? Just want to read some of the comments that we got here. Coffee cups, everyone likes to bring in their own mug.
I was just going to mention that. That's big at our station. Lots of people bring their own little travel mugs in and have their own thing for that. So that's a pretty common one.
I've seen people use my mug.
And then you got to start the fight where it's like, that's mine.
You did use mine, though.
I didn't?
Yeah.
When did I use your mug?
The white one.
What's your white one?
No, we're not going to
have
this
there you
argument
go.
right now. Well, anyway, some other ones, photos and pen holders and like a little stereo, like one of those like Bluetooth speakers.
Okay, yeah.
I know there's someone in our office that does have that as well as like in his editing workspace.
So just anything that, I'm big on the pictures. That's pretty much all I'll bring in, but just some photos and stuff. When you spend that much time in the office, you want to make it feel a little homey, so.
It's always nice because that's a good conversation starter when you think about it
There
too.
you
Just
go.
people are like, who's that? Or what's that? Or where is that?
There you go.
Where is that? Exactly. Well, it's that time of the show because it's a new week, so a new chance to win a Lloydminster Pet Pad gift card. So let's take a look at some of the pets that we have for today. This is Misty,
Very
just
cute.
helping out doing laundry, looking all adorable and whatnot. Next up, we have Willow, ready to go for a
Willow's
walk.
so cute.
Look at how
tiny.
he is, very cute.
Yeah.
Indeed. Next, we have Waffle, who is a clear representation of how Mondays are for most
got
people.
the Monday feels.
Very adorable. Next up, we have Jet.
Aw,
Very
Jet's
happy.
so happy.
Yeah. Like a cute smile. I love that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, this is Taya chilling in her kennel with her toy. Very cute.
Pictures today.
Very cute indeed. Well, if your pet was shown on today, you're automatically entered to win a Lloydminster Pet Pad gift card, which we're giving away at the end of the week.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Joining me today, we have Stephanie Dobson and Ryan Armstrong. Stephanie and Ryan, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's so nice to have you guys here. Such a great cause in the community, and I think it's something we need to create awareness of. It's the free legal clinics and also the seminars. So first, Ryan, I'll start with you. Tell me about the seminar that's coming up this week.
Yes, the seminar is on Thursday, April 18th from 5 till 7 p.m. It's held at the Commerce Building, and this one's on estates and estate planning, so getting a will in place and those sorts of things.
Okay, and I think this is something that people often don't think about maybe until it's too late, or the one thing I've heard is, well, I'm too young, I don't really have anything, I don't need a will. Is this a good place for kind of somebody for all ages to go to get the information?
It is. There's a lot of different ways that people can review a will in their life, whether they're 18 or they've bought their first house or they're getting married or possibly they've gone through a divorce. A lot of people we look at, they've started a business and they haven't really contemplated the effects of their death on either the business or a transition in the business, and making sure that things in their business side of their lives match up with the personal side of their life.
Do you have to sign up ahead of time for this, or can you just show up?
No, you don't have to show up or sign up ahead of time, You can just show up for the clinic at 5 p.m.
Okay. And Stephanie, now we're going to talk about the legal clinics. Tell me when the next one is and how people get involved with these, because it is a little bit of a different process than just for the seminar.
So what we've been doing in 2019 is we've been having alternating months between a legal clinic and an education seminar. So the education seminars are come one, come all, up to about 50 people we can accommodate in the room, and you don't have to sign up ahead. But with the free legal clinics, they are one-on-one advice. So you have to sign up ahead. There's anywhere from 1 to 4 lawyers that will attend these legal clinics, and they can take up to 3 or 4 clients in an evening. So it's a great opportunity for people to be able to relate their particular story to a lawyer and get personalized, custom legal advice custom to their situation. It is on a summary basis, so it's only a one-time half an hour to 45-minute appointment, but you do have to sign up ahead of time.
And can it be on a variety of issues, or do you kind of make it into just certain topics that these people can visit for?
We don't have any particular restrictions on the type of topics that people can request. However, the typical topics are things like landlord-tenant issues, small claims, civil disputes, family law issues is a really popular one, and criminal law.
Okay, and what is the best way to sign up for these? Do you need to call in, or?
So we do have a Facebook page. You
Okay.
can check us out on the web. There's lots of advertisements through what's happening in Lloydminster, but the way to actually book an appointment is by calling in. So the phone number to call in is 587-789-0727, and that's a local Lloydminster phone call.
Okay.
And both Alberta and Saskatchewan residents are eligible
Qualify, okay.
to book an appointment.
Okay. Ryan, why do you think that both of these events are so valuable to people in the city?
Well, I think it's important to provide, as Stephanie said, the independent legal advice for someone, or custom legal advice, I should say, to someone on their specific issue. But I think there's perhaps a lack of general knowledge in the community or in society as general on certain legal issues, and people may defer to Google or whatnot, but it sometimes can carry a little more weight if it comes from hearing it from a lawyer, and so that's the importance of the seminars. So the seminars with the clinics, I think, are very important in helping the community out.
Okay, and once again, and Stephanie, maybe we should just reiterate that this is free. If you do sign up or if you take in the seminar, it is free. There is no cost, correct?
That's correct. And especially for the free education seminars, there's no financial eligibility guidelines. So anyone can come. As I said, no sign up required. And we do these every couple of months. So this one coming up on April 18th is on estate planning and wills, but the one on June the 20th is on landlord and tenant issues. And the clinics are held consistently on the third Thursday of every month. So whether it's a clinic month, the summary advice, legal advice clinic, or whether it's the education seminar, they're always the third Thursday of the month between 5 and 7 p.m. at the Chamber of Commerce building.
Okay, and once again, I'll just get you to repeat that phone number if you can for people wanting to sign up for the actual free clinics.
Sure.
If you could just give us that number, please.
Sure, it's 587-789-0727.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys both for joining me again. We really appreciate this effort, and I'm sure people in the community do as well. So once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Furniture supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Welcome back. Primetime local news, sports talk with Josh and Buck, and I love this time of the year. It's somewhat of a dead period for a week or two. Not really a total dead period, but a down period where the local sports scene slows as we begin to transition and we finish up, hockey, basketball, high school sports. But this is when the playoffs begin on the pro side of things. And for the most part, I would say that the early rounds of basketball and hockey haven't disappointed. Big game threes coming up here for both the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Huge game threes. Calgary Flames going on the road now. Colorado goes in there, gets a split. They knew it was going to be tough against Colorado. Flames haven't had great starts in the first two games. No. The Avalanche, I think you saw the best the Avalanche have in game two. And the Flames are right there. Yeah. And they lost in overtime. So I'm still thinking the Flames are probably going to go to Denver and at least get a split there, or maybe win both and come back home and wrap it up. I don't think that this series is going to go further than 6. And the Leafs played their kind of game in game 1. Bruins played their kind of game in game 2. And they're going to be without Kadri tonight. You know what? If you look at the Leafs going home, if they play with that speed, the Bruins won't have an answer for it. But if the Bruins play with that little toughness and a little bit of grit and a little bit of dirtiness, look for the Bruins to win tonight.
And that will certainly be something to watch tonight on Sportsnet, Hockey Night in Canada. Yep. Another series obviously going on with the Jets really quickly. They have looked a little rough the last couple of months, but a big Game 3 win, so they're still alive.
Well, yeah, big win for the Jets, and you knew that was going to come. They had their chances against St. Louis in the first 2 games, and Winnipeg couldn't bury them. Laine is really coming into his own. There was a lot of questions regarding Laine during the regular season that he wasn't really peaking. It looks like he's peaking right now in the playoffs. Tampa Bay Lightning look horrible against Colorado or against Columbus.
Yeah.
And now CBJ is a win away from ending what was a great regular season, one of the best of all time.
Since 1996?
And now the Lightning are going to be out in a sweep. Are you kidding me? Stamkos is 0 for the series. And you look at Crosby, too, against the Islanders. He's 0 for the series, too. And they're down 3-0 against the Isles. So it's been an interesting, and everybody was wondering how the first round was going to be because people were complaining there's too many good teams in that first round. It's pretty
entertaining hockey.
It's very entertaining, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what we'll get if Columbus is able to hold on? We'll get a lot more torts for the rest of the playoffs, which can always be a fun thing. Very quickly, want to touch on the Toronto Raptors. They have a history of losing game 1s. That was no different. Different perhaps in that it wasn't the type of collapse you've seen in the past, and really it came down to a missed Marc Gasol 3 on one end and a made DJ Augustine 3 on the other. That was the deciding basket. But some concerning signs, such as Lowry going scoreless, has to be there.
You know what? Just like Tampa Bay had a great season, Raptors had a great regular season. Anything short of getting to the NBA final is going to be a disappointment. There's a huge amount of pressure on the Raptors in this opening round series. And when you lose that first one, the pressure just mounts a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see. Lowry's really got to stir the drink for them. And if he doesn't, then they're in trouble.
Yeah, 0 for 7 again in his first game versus the combined point guards, Michael Carter-Williams, I believe I have that correct, and DJ Augustine, 35 points.
Wow.
So 35 points to 0 is quite the trap. But again, I don't think Toronto's going to miss. I hope Toronto's not going to miss that many open threes. 15 seconds really quick. Lakeland Athletics handing out their awards. Ray Sigurdsson wins back-to-back Female Player of the Year. Pretty good wrap-up. That plus winning ACAC Women's Volleyball Player of the Year in one season.
And the great thing for this, the program is going to benefit from her. They benefit from her on the court. Now she's going to be part of the coaching staff.
Yeah, assistant coach next season, so that's really exciting to see. You know, you had 3 fifth-year players on the team. They extend their legacy on beyond that.
Yeah, so that's great. When you have legacy players continuing to bring that legacy to the future players onto that club, and who knows how long she'll be a member of that coaching staff. You know, she could be here for quite a long time.
Yeah, as she said at the banquet, Coach Dyer can't get rid of me, but I don't think he actually wants to get rid of her. And really quick, before I forget, let's plug your sports show for tomorrow.
Tuesday Night Sports Show, Jeff Blair from Sportsnet Radio in Toronto will join us talking about we'll talk Leafs, we'll talk NHL, we'll talk Tiger Woods, of course, because it was a great weekend for Tiger Woods at the Masters. Also, we'll talk to David Shane from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The Sharks in the Golden Knights series is nasty. He'll talk about that. And also Trevor Redden, the voice of the PA Raiders, will talk WHL playoffs.
Don't miss that tomorrow, folks. And don't miss the next couple of minutes here on Primetime Local News.
Well, tonight we were here at Cliff Rose Clothing as we were talking about men's fashion, getting ready for the warmer months as it's heading into spring and summer, and including these jackets here, as Dave mentioned, kind of more of a plaid, or as he said, Don Cherry look. I think it kind of looks like a Harry Carey look as well, and we are seeing a lot more color heading into spring and summer months as well, and over to the left as well, kind of more of a marine look, as this is made by a company called Fish Named Fred, I believe it's called. So a little bit more of that coming into the fashion look as well, heading into the summer events as well. That'll do it for us here tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's head back into the studio where Connor and Elise will wrap up tonight's show.
All right, thanks very much, Brett. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast one last time here. 12 degrees tomorrow for us, 15 degrees on Wednesday and Thursday, with Wednesday seeing more sun than Thursday, where it's going to be a majority of it being cloud coverage. 14 degrees on Friday there, 12 degrees on Saturday and Sunday with some sun and cloud mix there. And then the warmest day of the week, 17 this time next week, as our daytime highs for the averages averaging around 10 degrees, so right around the ballpark there. And our average lows this time of year, -2, so we're a little over that this year with the positive positive digits that we're seeing into the morning, as we are seeing 1, 5, 4, and then 1s again. So it should be a great week nonetheless. Well, just a great week to go out and go do whatever.
Plus 17, that's going to be wonderful.
That's wild.
Yeah. Haven't seen those numbers in what feels like forever. So,
yeah. Well, not the first time this year we'd see it. But
exactly, yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great night.
Yeah, have a good night.